Hey Meister Makers, it's Jennifer and Jody here, and you know what day it is? It is Wednesday, so it is time for our Wednesday workshop at 1. And being that it is just 2 days before Christmas, I know that you all are prepared. So this is going to be a way in advance help preparation for you for next year. And for those of you that are all snickering because you still have gifts that need to wrap, then you're going to find that this is very timely information indeed. So what we're going to talk about today primarily is creating some paper crafted personalized gift wrappings. But before we do that, I want to share with you a couple of vinyl options. And being that we've done vinyl recently, we're not going to get into a lot of details, but it's more for inspiration than instruction on the vinyl piece. And then the paper pieces will go into more detail. If you do not yet have a digital die cutter, this is a ScanNCut project. You can use any digital die cutters, but again, it's 2 days before Christmas. There is still time for you to come in and get one to go underneath your tree or two, right? Whatever it is that you happen to need. So, breaking news, if you've not noticed on our website, if you go to products and ScanNCut, right underneath ScanNCut, you're going to see the design store. And this is where you can purchase ready-made SVG files. These will work with all brands of digital die cutter, and there are thousands of designs to choose from. They're very inexpensive. You're going to find them categorized by the time of the year, by celebrations, by who they're for. You can even sort through, do you want just cut files? Do you want cut and draw files? So it's really easy to navigate that section of the design store site. I will tell you that when you go in, and this is definitely a benefit, you're going to need to set yourself up an account. And when you do, I think the biggest advantage, I don't know about you, Jody, but sometimes I forget what I purchased, or I forget where I have filed them.
Or
so you can
download them.
Or forget to download them, yes. So you can always go back into your account and you can see what you have purchased, and you can re-download those files over and over and over again. The other benefit to that is sometimes I'm in a hurry when I'm purchasing a new SVG file and I'm in a rush to get to my machine because I have a gift that I need to wrap right now. And I don't always change the file name. And I may not remember what file 2764327 SVG is without going back to my history on the design store where I can see a thumbnail of what that image is. So as you start shopping and you start building your SVG library, it's going to be definitely to your advantage that you either A, rename those files, or B, make it just a habit to go to your account and re-download by looking at those images of your SVG files. So a couple of quick wrapping and gift personalization ideas for using your adhesive vinyl. Now, these are not heat set vinyls in this case, these are just the sticky ones. So sometimes we have an awkward gift that we need to find something to put in. Now, I also wasn't real holiday specific, so these are some project inspirations or some wrapping inspirations that you could use for any time of the year. I love these little cubes. I have them all over the place. I have them in my office at home. I have them in my sewing room. And this was just a file from the design store that was cut on adhesive vinyl and then just adhered to the side of the cube. Super, super quick, super, super easy. The one tip that I would give you when you start adhering your vinyls to something a little bit out of the ordinary is before you commit to an entire piece of vinyl and try to adhere it and burnish it onto your fabrics, do a little test cut. Take that test cut and try to adhere it in an area that's not going to show. That way you will know right away either A, I need to use a little bit more force when I'm burnishing the item, or B, it's not going to stick. So don't go through the effort of cutting the entirety of your vinyl piece. Right? Ask me how I know.
So you were just getting warmed up.
Exactly, getting warmed up. Now, I love also gift boxes. Wrapping gifts is not one of my favorites at all. So by using a very plain gift box, cutting something with an adhesive vinyl, not only does it make a pretty, ready to go gift box, but have you ever seen where sometimes from very high-end stores, people will take the bags or the boxes and then they'll frame them?
Yes.
So I thought that might be kind of a fun idea afterwards to recycle it. My tip for working with the boxes, to ensure success, make sure you're using a transfer tape that's not one of those super heavy duty transfer tapes. If you do, when you go to attach it, to position it on your box, chances are good it's not coming off the box. Again, ask me how I know. So I would suggest that, as we did with the cube, you do test somewhere on your box before you commit to an entirety of the project. The glossier the box, the more likely you are to be successful with this, because it is paper that you're putting a sticky media on, right? And so you don't want to remove the transfer tape. Your lettering's going to look beautiful, but you pulled half the box off.
Yeah.
In full disclosure, I did have a little part of the box that came off, and so I used paper tape, right, to add an extra little decorative element.
It looks like you did it on purpose.
I know, right? If I hadn't told you.
I thought that's what it's supposed
For
to look
our
like.
makers at home, when they get that little piece of box that tears off and they email me to find out what to do about it, that's what you're going to do. Okay? Or put a piece of ribbon over it, either one.
Or make a snowflake.
Or make a snowflake, right? But you still have the transfer tape.
That's true.
Snowflake. So, you could go from bad to worse. Ribbon. Now, whether it's for the Christmas holiday or any other holiday, and I know cameraman Joel is making eyes. He's like, I really can't see that, so we will get a close-up. Again, it's an adhesive vinyl. It's been positioned over the ribbon, so you can make custom ribbon. How fun.
I have a niece that would just love to have that joy bow.
Oh, well, you know what? I know where you can get that. Whoops. Okay. And then finally, on gift bags. So same thing, I like to repurpose my gift bags. So here we've got some text that's been cut from adhesive vinyl. All of these designs are from the design store, and it makes something that's most definitely a unique and a personalized way to present a loved one with a gift. So that's what I have to share. And again, the waxier, the shinier the bags, the better, because again, you don't want your transfer tape to stick to that paper backing.
Which on this, which is a paper bag, probably would have not turned out too pretty.
Exactly. So in this case, you used not vinyl, but
I just used cardstock.
all right. So we've talked in the past in a couple of different workshops and things about the vinyls. So we're not going to spend our time here today. We're going to spend it talking about the cardstock. So Jody, share with our makers at home what you brought today.
Okay, so I decided to go with cardstock because we have been doing vinyl. And actually, I didn't have any vinyl like that at home. I did have iron-on vinyl, but that's kind of not for making cards really quick. That was not going to be useful. So all of these were purchased from the store. And I was thinking, quick, how do I decorate a gift card? Because I know a lot of people are probably getting gift cards this year. It's kind of usually what I give. That's kind of my go-to gift. So I went there and I did a search for gift cards. And this is out of just regular cardstock. And then the front is just decorative. Has little slats on the inside to hold your card.
I love that.
Yeah. And then this one is just another, I thought this one was cute. And you just drop it in the back, and there's just a little gift card slot in the back. This one I did off the machine, and it's actually just the design, the whole design here, and then I did an offset and created the inside, and I cut both of them, put one on top of the other, and you can use it as a gift tag.
Very nice. I never have gift tags at home when I'm
Well,
wrapping gifts.
Yeah, I think most people forget about doing that. And then on this one, this is a pocket or a pillow gift card holder. And it cut it out. It did the score lines. And it was just green. And I thought, it needs a little something. So I just stuck a little ribbon on it. But you could easily glue the bottom here, fill it with candies or cards or whatever you want, money. And then pierce a hole through the top and then put a hook through it and just hang it or ribbon or whatever you want. So these were all really, really fast gifts.
Again, 2 days before the big day,
Yes.
about what we have time.
And every bit of it was out of scraps.
Nice.
So it was like, oh, I recycled a whole lot. This one here is, I just liked his face. And I thought he'd look really cute on a bag.
Mhm.
So we're going to kind of go through this one because this is how that one is set up. And I did it all in one cut.
So rather than having to cut each one separately, you were able to split the file or
Yep.
pull the pieces of the file, run it through all at once. So it was even
Yep.
faster then.
Yep.
And that's what you're going to show us how to
Yep.
do today.
It's going to take one, and I'm going to take it apart for you.
All right. So are we ready to do this?
Yes.
Are we ready, cameraman Joel?
We're ready.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to show you how to set up your mat with just pieces that you have left over. This is the biggest piece. It's 6 by 7, but I'm going to cut the hat, the nose, the holly. I didn't put berries on mine, but that's for berries. This is the face, and this is the top and the eyeballs, and the little pom-pom there. And this is how I'm going to show you how to set this all up so that you can just use bits and pieces to do this. Okay, I've loaded the design onto an USB stick from the design store. We're going to pull the file up. It's on the USB stick. We're using the SCM file. Going to hit OK. First thing we're going to do is we're going to scan our mat so we know where to move our design. Okay. Now we're going to break apart our design so that we know where everything needs to be. So we're going to go into Edit. And here is our first selection. It is the pom-pom on the white of the hat. If it's a little bit hard to see, you can go ahead and increase or decrease. Here is the other part of our hat that we need. So we're going to bring it over wherever our white piece is. And if you notice, it's going in the direction that we're going to need to flip it because it's too long, and it's actually has that white piece of fabric. Our paper is 7 inches long, so we're going to hit Edit. And we're going to go ahead and rotate it. And move it down so it is all on the white paper. We're going to now take the nose and put it where the orange paper is. And again, we need to rotate that and move it over. The 2 black eyes. Now you'll notice there's no black paper there, because if you scan the mat with the black paper, you can't see where to move everything. So we are going to put the black paper on after we move everything. The little eyes, this is the inside of the whites of the eye. So we're going to move that onto the white. And then we are going to magnify again so that there's 2 eyebrows up here. There's one there. And then there's the other one there. It needs to go onto the black. And then we have the red hat. And it's a little bit wider than the red piece of paper. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to rotate that one also. And to check that one to make sure that it is on the mat, we could go ahead and enlarge it. And yes, it is. It is on the red. I'm going to move that down just a little bit. And now everything is where it needs to be. But if you notice, I still have a green piece and a red piece. So we're going to hit OK on this, and we're going to add. We're going to go into pattern. We're going to, wrong one. Going to go into our shapes. We're going to hit our flowers. And the very last one is a holly leaf. And it is almost 4 inches, which is way too big. So we're going to shrink it down to about 2 inches. We're going to hit OK. Going to hit OK again. We're going to hit set. Whoops, moved the wrong one. We need to edit so we can find it. There it is. And it is now centered on the green. You can hit OK. Now, before we cut and do a test cut, we need to put our back piece of fabric or paper back on. But we know everything is where it needs to be. So we're going to hit OK. Going to hit OK again. Going to go to select. Cut. Now you always want to do a test. Better to do the test first than go, uh-oh, didn't work. And you have to start all over again. And we're going to move it down just a little bit so that we know that it doesn't get cut in our hat. Now it's ready to start. And it's going to do our test cut first. Okay, so we're going to check to make sure it cut perfect. Sometimes if you do the lower corners on the left-hand side, and if you're doing a really big piece, it's better to do it at the very bottom so that you can see the cut better. So now that it's like, oh, that's a perfect cut, it's ready to go. So we're just going to hit start. And it's going to be completely cut in 2 minutes. Okay, so now it's done cutting. Unload your mat. And this is how easy that was. Look how nice that has cut. Whoops, a little area right there. Well, we'll get that. And I didn't cut out a berry. So there's all your parts for making your snowman bag. Now, I did not use the center dots for the eyes. They were already cut out on a white bag, so I didn't see any reason for it. But I mean, it took what, 5 minutes? And it's just glued on. And that's it. That's a nice, fast way of making a gift. You can actually shrink this also, leave it all together, shrink it down, and then take it apart and cut it out. So you can make it as big or small as you need it to be.
Well, thank you, Jody. That was awesome. I love it. And I really like that we were able to do everything right here on the screen of the machine. So, depending on what type of die cutter you own, you may have to use software to do this, or you may be able to do it at the screen of the machine. And there's advantages to both.
Yes.
If I were going to be doing several of these, I probably would group this using my Canvas software at home. If I were doing several bags, that way I could cut everything in black from one large sheet of black cardstock, everything that was going to be red from another sheet, and so on. It just depends on how many we happen to be making.
And you can save it to memory in the machine.
I love it.
And so that you can not have to worry about coming back, and it's all ready to go for next year if you want to do a bunch more.
And something of note, those of you that do have ScanNCuts at home, remember to always download and install the most current updates, because it will add features and functionality for you. For example, the file that we're working with, it started life as a SVG file. And while the machine will open them and cut them, you wouldn't be able to edit them with the same amount of manipulation that we were able to do with this particular file. So that's super important to make sure that you're doing that. So we hope you've enjoyed this edition of Wednesday Workshop at 1. We're looking forward to seeing you next week. And as always, if you have comments, questions, if you have a topic that you would like to see addressed in these presentations, please email me at info@meisnersewing.com. Happy holidays, and we will see you next week.
Happy holidays. Bye-bye.